Let's move on to Kevin in New York. Kevin, you're live with Eric and Dave. What would you like to talk about?
Hey, you guys. How's it going?
Hey.
Well, I'm riding that line. Caffeine, I ate. I'm
You've
all
been pounding the Monster, I noticed.
I have. Every time the camera pans away, I've been drinking that Monster. Hopefully by next week, also, I won't have this white background. Hopefully I'll have a nice something.
What's up, Kevin?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, well, I wanted to bring up the subject of how I've come to the conclusion that other ancient texts outside of the Bible basically give the Bible more credence and in historical terms and how people view the world. Now, a particular text that I wanted to narrow down actually was called the Nag Hammadi Codices, and they were accredited with not being influenced by other cultures and traditions, but yet they come up with similar stories, like how I said in a previous call, how I believe that the concept of demons are real. But as you read the Nag Hammadi, it talks about the archons, which basically are the same thing. But
okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Did we not talk about demons when you called in before?
Yeah.
What's a demon?
It was
Kevin. What's a demon?
A demon is a disembodied spirit.
Okay. Can you take me to where I can find a demon? Can we investigate it? I mean, if this is a natural occurrence, then I would assume that we'd have a long history of investigating it, and we actually do investigate spiritual claims, and so far we've turned up bupkis. So what's convinced you?
What convinced me was the effect that the Nag Hammadi says about the archons having to do with
okay, hold on. So is the Nag Hammadi what convinced you about demons?
No, but it
okay, I asked you what convinced you, and you said the Nag Hammadi. And so I asked you again, and you said no. So are you waiting to be on a script? Or what's going on, dude? I'm confused.
I was saying that no, it only further confirmed what I already thought.
Oh, yeah, no, we do that all the time as humans. That's confirmation bias. Absolutely.
Bias. Yeah.
So, again, what convinced you? Because you were already convinced before you found this this piece of evidence you're trying to bring forward. What convinced you, Kevin? And should it convince me?
Well, my general idea is that things like these, which are extremely hard to prove, wouldn't have stuck around in the minds of mankind for so long.
How do you know that? Stop. How do you know that?
Well, that's just based off of the insinuation that just like in the past, we've had people who have that hunger for the truth and put that out there for us.
Sure. And when we couldn't explain things, we made them up. So I want to tell you why I'm coming at it the way that I am. And that is because I have a history ever since I was a kid volunteering in my mom's special ed classroom. I have a lot of experience with special ed. And I have a lot of experience with things that maybe a lot of people don't, right? I've seen a good number of grand mal seizures. They're terrifying. I've worked with kids with different personality disorders, things that cause them to, see people that aren't there and talk to people that aren't there and hear voices when they aren't there, right? They're all things that we've been able to understand and learn more about and diagnose, and we're working towards, giving them the best quality of life possible. That said, that was not always the case. even here in the United States, we had a history of locking up, people for the rest of their lives to just move them out of society so we can't see them. And before that, we told stories about what might be going on. And we said, okay, you hear voices, so obviously maybe you're hearing some disembodied voice. But the more we learn about it, the more we see that
we have answers. We have answers, and we don't have to make them up. Science has given us answers. Back when ancient texts were written, which is what you're referring to, Kevin, there were no answers. If a man was having an epileptic seizure or throwing himself in the fire, as the scripture says, we have to ascribe that to something. What's going on here? Well, they were superstitious. It must be a god. It must be a devil. It must be something. When thunder and lightning happened back in the day, they didn't know what that was. So there's the god of thunder. There's the god of lightning. Those are the answers that people made up when they didn't have real answers. Well, science has shown us what these things are. So things that would normally back in the day be ascribed to a demon, that's not. There's medical reasons for that behavior now.
Well, yeah, I know what you guys are saying. I'm always open to be proven wrong.
That's good.
But you see, but you see, I know that the just human suffering itself seems to be it seems to be a human construct itself.
We make up stories.
It seems to be a result of just our consciousness or the inner workings of our brain.
Right.
But it's that the reason why I think that there's an outside force influencing things like that is because these very things, like our emotions, for example. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to change the subject, but the reason why I mention emotions.
It's okay. I'm taking a pin and I'm putting a pin in demons, and I'm just making sure that we're relating what you're talking about back to demons. So go ahead. I've got this pinned. I'm writing it down.
Your emotions.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, having to do with our emotions, they're natural, but when it gets to a point to where we can find ourselves special and separate from animals is when our consciousness is interacting with our brain. We're always comparing it to the local. We compare it to our environment, and so we change our emotions based on that environment. But and that gives rise to a whole new level of human suffering, which is things like jealousy, hate.
Okay.
Greed,
so
forth.
So I want to address this, but I also don't want to go down a trail that's not about demons, because I know that you're using this to give an example of demons.
Well, having to do with demons, it's that. I don't even want to stray too much from what I was talking about, but the Nag Hammadi is describing demons as archons in the ways that it describes them as disembodied consciousness that works almost as a parasite for the human mind, in such a way to where they take our innate emotions and intensify them to where it could be destructive for us.
Yeah, I get it. I really don't give a shit about the book.
No, what's their evidence? These are ideas that some book is putting forth. But what's their evidence for that? We could just take a Harry Potter book and we could build a whole cultural idea about what they said is true about magic and witches. And I mean, it doesn't make it true because it's in some book.
Or Dave's example before, lightning and thunder.
Yeah.
I can say, okay, well, people have experienced lightning and thunder all over the place. And if you really look, then it's described that Zeus could hurl lightning bolts and that is where, this originated. Why should I care? Why do you think this is a book that correlates to reality? And actually, you know what? I want to take that back for a second. I want to apologize because I'm getting off base. We're supposed to be talking about demons. You're already convinced that demons exist, and this Nakamati book is a red herring.
Confirmation.
It's something that is not related to why you believe. It's just something you're bringing out. So I guess if I were to shut down or knock down the Nakamati, we're still not talking about why you have this belief. So why do you have this demon belief? Sorry, I needed to correct and make sure that I wasn't going down a different direction.
Well, because, I mean, looking at our world today, this is why I have this belief. Looking at the world today, despite the everyday person's inner striving to have peace and to be left alone and live their own life, we see all of these on a collective level. I mean, there's these wars, there's these struggles of power,
sure,
and that itself is proof. Because
wait, that is proof?
People,
hold on,
see,
Kevin, that is proof?
I have a real problem with what you're saying, and maybe I would rather address the motivation of why you want to believe in demons. And my guess, and here's what I'm hearing: the human condition is human. We all struggle. There are people that have mental illness. We struggle with depression. We struggle with anxiety. The world is a hard place to live in. We all know that. But here's the reality. I don't know how making demons to be a real thing helps that. Because to me, all it does is absolve us of the responsibility that we have to try to be better humans. If I'm acting poorly, and if I'm misbehaving, and if I say, well, hell, what do you expect from me? I got demons in me, man.
Yeah.
You expect me to act any better than this? That's just absolving me of my responsibility to be a better person. And I think that's a cop-out. And I'm not accusing you of that motivation. I'm just saying that when we put spiritual elements into the human condition, then we get off scot-free. And that doesn't help us get better at all.
Externalizing blame. It's called externalizing blame. And Dave, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, man. You know, why should I worry about what I did when I could just say a demon made me do it?
Demon made me act like an asshole. So, hey, give me a break.
Yeah.
No, we are responsible for our behavior. And when we misbehave, we need to own it and say, okay, I need to learn how to do better.
I mean, isn't it enough that we're complex creatures with our own motivations, that we all have a personal narrative that we're striving toward, that even people who do terrible things in their mind are able to justify it, and most people are the heroes in their own stories.
Of course.
I mean, if you look at these wars that you're talking about, how many wars have been fought where the people fighting them thought that their cause was just? It doesn't mean that it was, but it means that those people were convinced that way. And you don't need superstition and magic to get there. You have people who want, and people who are jealous or angry or afraid, right? A lot of it is fear, you know, but when you give people an excuse to externalize that blame, that's just one of them. You know, another one is racism, right? I mean, you know, I can't get a job. It must be all of these other people who take my jobs.
And that's fear-based too. So fear and hate are all about us making demons out of people that we don't agree with or that we think are taking something from us.
But they're absolutely human. And not only are they human, they happen in animals, all the other animals. We are animals, Kevin. We are not different than the apes that we share a lineage with. The fact is
Eric, just like you mentioned, Eric, just how you mentioned racism, the common everyday person who thinks like you and I do, are not racist. But will you not admit that there are people in power who use that as a tool to control other people? I mean, that's exactly what's going on.
I don't understand how that addresses your...
How does that relate to demons?
Yeah.
Well, we look around every day, we see, I mean, obviously we're living on Earth in the middle of the universe somewhere, but when we look around, we see examples of good and evil, which gives us the clear proof that we're in the middle of something that's good and evil.
No, we're just defining
I mean,
It's human.
it
It's the
doesn't,
human condition. Each of
it
us, all
doesn't,
three of us on this call have good and evil in us. Not evil's not a word that I want to use, but we can behave well and we can behave poorly. We can make good choices and we can make bad choices. I can do good to people and help people, and then in a bad moment or a bad decision, I can hurt people. And that's just human. That's just me being a human being and not being my best all the time. That's not, there's nothing spiritual about that.
No, I mean,
well,
just,
yeah,
just
absolutely.
take a look at videos
I
of
don't want to.
you know, and dogs. I mean, there's so many animals that have a sense of fairness that when they see something as unfair, they react. I mean, it's not just us, dude. It's everywhere. What we call good and evil is what we've decided to describe things that are beneficial to society or beneficial to the propagation of our genes.
Mm-hmm.
That is largely what
we have all kinds of. I don't want to change the subject or anything, but we have all kinds of examples of people in power doing things that the normal everyday person wouldn't even dream of, such as the authoritarian regimes that we've seen in the past, and I mean, a person can come to the same conclusion. For example, Hitler, who dwelled into the occult, who was into all types of evil things, and it's like he welcomed those types of things.
How does this?
I don't follow your thought out. Follow your thought, Kevin, and make people in authoritarian, people in power, making that. How does that make them have demons? Follow that thought out, because I'm not getting the connection that you're trying to make.
Mm-mm.
Well, a clear example of demonic activity is murder on mass scale.
Okay, so do you think that people are not able to murder en masse?
That is not a clear example of demonic activity at all.
I mean, I can tell you there are plenty of people right after 9/11 who said that they wanted to nuke the Middle East and turn it into a sea of glass. I'm pretty sure that humans can absolutely conceive of mass murder.
Well, yeah, sure, but it's when they get to the point to where, and we see many examples of the person being deranged in such a way to where they actually enjoy what they're doing, and that's a disturbing fact.
Yeah, we already talked about mental illness.
We're still stuck there. You're ascribing it to demonic activity. We're calling it human behavior and mental illness and things that can be scientifically and medically shown to be true. We don't need superstitious ideas from the Middle Ages. It just doesn't make what we're doing here any better or make any more sense.
Kevin?
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it got really loud there for a second. Kevin, it's called the argument from incredulity. I can't understand, or I couldn't imagine X. Therefore, my claim is true. I couldn't imagine people committing murder on large scale. Therefore, whatever your claim is true.
It must be a demon.
Your claim. Just because you can't imagine something doesn't mean that it is not true or likely. It just, you can't imagine it. It's fallacious. There's no way you're going to get there using that logic.
Mm-mm. And we could talk all day and not get there. So.
Yep. So I hope that you take that tool out of your toolbox and use a different one, because I can't imagine X, therefore I'm right. Plug that in a couple places. Look up the argument from incredulity and see what people have done with that, because it doesn't help you understand true things about the world. All it does is help you justify your biases.
Right.
And that's what you're doing. And it is harmful in some ways. It is very harmful, Do you know how many people don't go to the doctor because they were told to cut a potato in half and stick it over the wound because it'll suck out the toxins? How many people won't go get vaccinated when it could save immunocompromised people? How many times other people have gone to, pseudo spiritual practices like Reiki and crystal healing and, getting their chakras aligned because they thought no, dude. You need to have good reason to believe what you believe. You have to have good evidence for it. And when you espouse shit without good evidence, you're not helping us, man. You're not helping the society you're in. And you're definitely not helping yourself get to reality.
Well, the only reason why we're talking about this is because what people believe have a direct result on their actions. Is it not? I mean,
but hold on. That has nothing to do with the point you made. You were talking about demons, and whether or not people have opinions does not mean that demons are true. That is not a thing. The time to believe in demons is when you bring me a fucking demon.
Eric, I mean, out of all the religions that are out there, they're not even concentrating on Christianity or other religions that promote good within people. There are religions that worship these demons and take them seriously. Why else was the most people?
So again,
I can hardly hear him.
So people believed in Zeus, therefore Zeus is true.
There are people that believe that the earth is flat.
Does that make the earth flat? What if it was a long time ago? Does that make it more likely flat? No. So why you're giving us crappy examples, dude?
We just get better information as we progress as a people, as a society, as humanity. We get better information and we're able to discard old ideas that don't make sense.
Yeah.
You need to join the modern world.
Yeah. Over here.
He's got a lot of background noise.
Yeah.
Take care, Kevin. It was good talking to you. I really hope you listen back and reapply those things because I've talked to a lot of people who have the same, methodology that you have when it comes to approaching the truth. And I would love for you to work on that methodology because I want you to have the right answers to things. I want you to be able to reliably come to good evidence and reliably go, hey, I have good reasoning to believe the things I believe. The reasoning you're using.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
I'm glad. All right. We've got a couple more callers that we want to make sure we get to.
Take care, Kevin.
Calling in, man.
All right, you too. Thanks for taking my call.
Take care.
I used to believe in demons. Did you?
Honestly,
I mean, our brand of Christianity believed in demons and angels, and we didn't believe a Christian could be possessed by a demon, but we believed you could be influenced by demonic activity.
So that was definitely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the most real that I ever got with it was when I met an atheist.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Because I looked for signs of demonic possession.
And you didn't find any, huh?
I looked for scales or, slitted eyes, or maybe they smelled like sulfur, or maybe, anything that I could to determine,
Well, yeah, you're trying to make sense. And because I was a Bible literalist, and the Bible talks about demons, Jesus cast them out, all that stuff. So I thought, well, we just believed that the Bible was current. Whatever was in the Bible was applicable for today. And if there were demons then, there have to be demons now. And so you had to make sense of it somehow, even though it didn't.
Definitely. And it's funny because I see so many comments. Oh, well, how could somebody so dumb ever believe that?
I was dumb.
No, you're not. And to those atheists in the comments who think that is how you get there.
No, you're right. It's not dumb. It's just misinformation. And it's having a bias. It's being told something, maybe like from the Bible. And like Kevin did, he went and found another book that confirmed his bias about demons, and it made him double down on it. And so, yeah, it's having an idea and then looking for reasons to support that idea.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make you dumb. You're right.
No, it just makes you a human that used the best evidence that he had available and that used the best tools that he had, or she or them or they. When those are the only tools you have, yeah, you're not going to reliably come to good answers.
We're just trying to give them better tools.
Yeah. And
we're just a toolbox, man. We're just Home Depot.
I will definitely take that. I am a tool. All right.